Well, take us through what you're making of the movement we're seeing on the local bourse today, where we seem to be backing the overall global trend.
Well, I think our PMI number that came out was very positive, and you can see that in the industrials. You see like companies like Barlow's and some heavyweights in that industrial sector moving up very nicely, and I think a very positive sign that PMI moving up. It's still below 50, which is a sign of the market the companies expanding, but we're at 48, so we're not quite at the expansion yet, but getting very close to expansion. So I think that's very positive and driving that industrial sector quite heavily today.
Gauging by the sentiment that's out there in the markets relating to the broader economy, just how sustainable do you see such a strong uptick in this PMI index being?
Well, I think it's very positive, and I think it can be sustained. I think there's a lag with the interest rates coming off by 500 basis points, and we see a lag, and only slowly does it start to recover into the market. And I think we're starting to see that take effect now, and I think that the Reserve Bank still has probably another 50 basis points which they can cut, and I think that'll help as well. So I do think it is sustainable as long as the world economy starts to tick up as well with it.
So let's look at that world economy, because certainly the PMI figures we saw out of the US overnight, and then the UK's PMIs that we saw this morning as well, not really boding well for those economic recovery prospects.
Yeah, they're not as positive as ours, and I think obviously we were lagging initially when their numbers were looking slightly better. There seems to be a slight, maybe a fourth quarter lull in the market, but overall I think everybody does think we have seen a bottom, and we might have a slight lull in the market, but we'll start to carry on moving up from there. So maybe the next month or two, as the foreign markets consolidate, we'll start to move up, and hopefully in the first quarter or even the second quarter next year, as they start to move up, then we'll catch up again the second time around.
Let's take a look at what's lifting in addition to those PMIs, what's helping to lift the local bourse today. It's that gold price that is sitting stronger. Run us through what you're making of gold sitting now above 1,000 yet again.
When obviously with it at $1,000, it's very positive for the mines, but it's always been downplayed by a very, very strong rand. So I think that MTN barter deal coming off yesterday, and that rand going from 739 all the way back, now we're trading at 765, is very positive, and positive for the gold miners. And if we can see that rand stay 760 all the way up to 770, 775, obviously it'll help with the amount of money that the gold mines are getting. So I think it's quite positive for the gold miners. I think Harmony's up about 3% today, trading around the 83 level, and I think that's it's a good level for the gold miners, and a softer rand obviously going to help them a lot.
Let's take a look at Anglo's. I mean, we know that it trades in a range of between 230 and 270. It's sitting at the bottom end of that range right now. What's your view on that counter and where we're headed in that regard?
Well, all of the markets currently are hitting support levels and long-term support levels. If they break below these support levels, I'll probably see Anglo's going back to 230, trading at about 237 now. And it can maybe break a little bit below there, but I think on the longer term, it's quite a good level for Anglo in the low 230s, and you probably could accumulate stock around the 230 level for Anglo American. If you're already holding Anglo's, maybe you'll accumulate a slightly more around 230.
Looking at that MTN share price, it's also another big support factor to today's market. It is the big news right now. Some commenting on the deal's collapse, saying that the government was unnecessarily dabbling where it shouldn't have been. What's your view on that?
Well, obviously we get more information out of it in the next couple of days or few weeks. And it depends how much the government did actually interfere in that, or did MTN actually use that as a bit of an escape. Obviously they thought the price was a little bit low that they're getting from Barty, and it's always good to be able to point the finger at someone else. So we'll just have to wait to see how much information we get from them and how much meddling the government did. I think Pravin Gordhan came out saying that they were happy for deals like this to happen, and so it's quite interesting to see did MTN use this as a bit of an escape to get out of the deal, and maybe we see now the shareholders obviously really like that they're not in this deal anymore.
In the meantime, how are you viewing MTN, especially looking at its prospects going forward, and given the fact that we've heard many say that it possibly now has time to focus on the fundamentals of being a good company yet again and pursuing its African strategy a little bit more aggressively?
Well, I think so. Obviously, I had to do a lot of consolidation during this process to get costs correct, etc., so that the deal would be good. So I think they would have done a lot of internal cleaning up in the business, which now leaves them in a very good situation to start going forward. I think also there's a lot of funds, emerging market funds, that couldn't really trade MTN because they could have been dual listed or there was corporate action happening, and a lot of these funds had to sit on the sidelines. Whereas now they're just a South African company again, and there can be lots of funds flowing in again into MTN. So I think it's very positive for them as a whole.
Well, certainly a lot of positivity buoying the local bourse today. How exactly would you be playing the markets right now, given the fact that overall globally there's still a lot of uncertainty regarding the economic recovery and the path that it's going to be taking moving forward?
I'll be quite cautious in the next 2 weeks. I think a lot of the markets are sitting at quite key support levels. I think on the all share we're sitting at around 25,000. If it breaks there, we can have all the way back down to 16% drop, which is down to 21,400. So we had quite a interesting support level on a lot of the markets all around. I'll be probably just waiting to see which way the market breaks, and I'll keep my investments that I have, but I wouldn't be adding right now.